Hi guys, Sherlock's Apprentice here, aka Mike, and here we are at the fourth part of this five-part series of my Bible Decode and the Exodus story. This is probably the best part that really, for me, confirms that I'm actually onto something. And the final part will bring it all together, final route. But this, I hope you guys can see, it is a real uh, an evidence that there has been a major deception with this Exodus story. So people think the Exodus is a made up story; it never happened. Especially when you start talking about parting of the Red Sea. I get it. But I'm sure there's embellishments, but when there's so many other references to actual factual places and historical events, I think there's a lot more than just a nice fairy tale. So here we go. Part four. A disclaimer quickly. It is very important that I state from the beginning I am no biblical scholar, and the information I am about to present in this series of presentations is just my personal observations and hypotheses. In no way am I trying to question anyone's faith or beliefs in the scriptures or any other religions. I know there are countless biblical scholars who know the history and Bible far better than I ever could. I'm just pointing out findings that I thought were interesting and maybe show alternative translations and meanings to the scriptures. I was brought up as a Roman Catholic and as a Christian. I truly believe in the Almighty Creator. Although I no longer see myself as a Roman Catholic, my connection with the Almighty has never been stronger than it is now since discovering the truth of where we live. Since then, I've tried to discover who is really running stroke controlling this world. And to do that, I found myself going back to the Bible. So point three on the Exodus route is Succoth. So in Numbers 33:5-8, there's a nice summary of the route. So where is Succoth? You can see, let's get a nice, I like my red pointer. It shows better. And moved the sons of Israel from Ramasses and camped at Succoth. And they departed from Succoth and they camped at Etham. And at the edge of the wilderness, they moved from Etham and turned back to Pi-Haroth, and which was upon the east of Balsaphon. And they camped at Migdol, departed before Haroth, and passed the midst of the sea in the wilderness. And at 3 days' journey in the wilderness, Etham, they camped at Marah, and from Marah, they camped to Elim, or came to Elim, I should say. So we're really looking at the first part of Numbers here. So this for me is one of the major deceptions of the Exodus story because Succoth is a place mentioned in Genesis and other books in the Bible. Only in the Exodus story is this other imaginary location for Succoth created. This other Succoth has no historical or even biblical backing as to where in Egypt it is. I believe it is the same Succoth as recorded in other books of the Bible, and therefore in Palestine and not Sinai, as described in part 2 of my series. Sermon Bible Hub 5523 Succoth, Strong's Concordance. Yeah, Succoth here, you can see, is a city east of Jordan. Sorry, east of the Jordan, meaning the Jordan River. Also a place in Egypt. So there's two Succoths in this description. You go to the Bible Atlas in Bible Hub, and you've got the Succoth here mentioned in Genesis, Joshua, Judges, Kings, Chronicles, Psalms, as being the Succoth east of the Jordan River. And then Succoth here is Exodus and Numbers, which is the same story, being in Egypt, the first station of the Hebrews on leaving Ramesses. The word means booths or tents, I suppose, something like that. Yeah. So again, here it is, 5523, a city east of the Jordan, a place in Egypt. Checking many old maps, Succoth seems to be shown either east or west of the River Jordan, near Jabash Galid. So this map here, you can see I've highlighted is the Sea of Galilee, Succoth being here, clearer on this map. It's shown here is the little symbol being east of the River Jordan, Jabath Galid here. On this map, Succoth also east of the Jordan in a similar location. This old map showing west of the Jordan, but a similar location. So somewhere around south of the Sea of Galilee, west or east of the Jordan. This map showing east. This map, if you can see, is actually north is in this direction. So again, east. This map showing the west of the Jordan. These next three maps show Succoth and a place called Dotham. Dotham is where Joseph was sold by his brothers. Is Dotham the next camp point of Etham? It just seems similar, to me, those two names. Yeah, you remember I'm saying the route is going north, okay, towards Mount Hermon. So Succoth, and then is Etham, Dotham. That was at this stage where my findings, my research was leading me. So the next maps here, this one, Succoth, is west of the Jordan again. Dothan here. Not clear if this is east or west of the Jordan. Yeah. But literally just south of the Sea of Galilee is Dothan again. And on this map, you can see the Sea of Galilee, River Jordan. So this is north in this direction. So this one is east, and there's Dothan I was saying earlier. So the location of Succoth is for sure in the Jordan Valley. So here is the Jordan Valley. Whether the place is east or west of the Jordan River needs further investigation. Joshua 13:27 mentions Succoth and other cities of them being east of the Jordan. So I decide to use Google Translate to translate the Hebrew version of Joshua to see if there's any clarification to this verse. So here are the Hebrew text of the Westminster Leningrad Codex. And here it is the WOC without the vowel points. And here the Aleppo Codex. So I put them all in Google Translate, just out of curiosity. So the Aleppo, and in the valley of Haram and Nimrah and Succoth and the rest of the northern kingdom of Sihon, king of the Jordan River and Gebal, to the end of the Sea of Galilee across the Jordan to the east. So WLC without consonants. And in the valley, very similar. Okay, almost word for word, with or without consonants. But the WLC with vowel points in Google Translate, it translated to, and in the land of Ramses. and in the house of Nimrod, and the kingdom of Sion. Total different translation. So from these translations, it mentions Succoth and other cities in the Jordan Valley, but not that they themselves are east of the Jordan River using Google Translate. The Westminster Atlantic Codex translated is very strange with the vowel point. Somehow it totally created a different translation. What are the chances that it translated with and in the land of Ramesses at the beginning? We are talking about Joshua, not Exodus. Either Google Translate is broken or I stumbled across a hidden coding in Google Translate for translating the Hebrew Bible. Please try it for yourselves, by finding the Hebrew text in BibleHub.com and copy to Google Translate. This is exactly what I did. Copied the Hebrew Westminster Leningrad Codex with vowel points, and this is what it translated to. So my Exodus route so far from Ramallah to Succoth is about 48 per 50 miles according to Google Earth ruler tool. Following the mountains paths best I can on Google Earth and assuming the mountains and valleys have not changed over 3,000 years through the Judean desert. The Bible says the Hebrews traveled by night and day, led by Yahweh, with a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Therefore, it could be possible to travel 50 miles until they camped at Succoth after the first day. So here is Ramallah, where I believe Pi-Ramasses is. They probably slightly west of this in the land of Goshen, and then traveled towards the Judean desert. Way of the wilderness path would be here. And then here, you can see this point here is lowland. So they would have had to have, gone a little bit around this part. And where Succoth is, I believe, is possibly even west of the Jordan River, not east. And this would have been 40 to 50 miles. So point 4, Etham. This one turned me in circles. So Numbers 33, 5, 8, from Succoth they camped to Etham, which is the edge of the wilderness. And you can see in Bible Hub here the Hebrew translated, and moved the sons of Israel from Ramesses and camped at Succoth. They camped from Succoth and they camped at Etham, at the edge of the wilderness. From Succoth there is no longer a desert, and therefore the camp at Etham was difficult to find as there was no desert in the area. Remember, wilderness meant desert, as I thought is what it meant in most of the translations. But Midbar, Strong's 4057. Strong's 4057. You see here Midbar. Ham Midbar, of the wilderness. Not only means wilderness or desert, it also means pastures where cattle graze. So Midbar 4057 says here mouth, opening. So going to the definitions down, you see here tracts of land used for pasture, flocks and herds. The pastures of the wilderness put forth green grass. So not just desert, it also means pastures. But it was interesting. I think it basically means uninhabited land. Yeah. So where no man was. So a desert would be where no man here, desert land. Yeah, also mean pasture. So there's two meanings to this Midbar. So northwest of Succoth is the Jezreel Valley, an arrowhead-shaped valley which is very flat, approximately 20 miles wide and 15 miles north to south. It is easy to see the area would be a large pasture area in Palestine. It's very flat, very waterlogged area, this whole Jezreel Valley. From Succoth, I believe the Hebrews traveled northwards towards the Jezreel Valley along the side of Mount Gilboa, across the Jezreel Valley, the pasture wilderness, to Afula, which is the crossroads of the way of the Philistines and the road of the patriarchs. Funny enough, on to Nazareth, on the edge of the wilderness. So the edge of the pasture is where Nazareth is, which I believe could be where they camped at Etham. So Nazareth, Etham, maybe, I don't know. Here's the way of the Philistines coming in this blue line. Row of the patriarchs coming this way, where the Exodus was coming from, I believe, from Succoth, here along Mount Gilboa, and then on this getting onto the main trade route. This old map of Palestine is from 1659. It shows the river called Sison Torrens, which is called the river Kishon or Kishon in the Bible. As you can see, the river was very large and connected the Mediterranean Sea and the Sea of Galilee. Today, this river is small and does not connect the two seas. This map shows only one crossing point, which is the way of the Philistines Road, which goes past Nazareth onto the way of Egyptian Jusin towards the northwest of the Sea of Galilee. This map shows Succoth on the east side of the Jordan, and there is also a place called Etham, but I still think they camped at or near Nazareth. So here, if I show here, is the Sison Torrens. So this river in this 1659 map is showing a connection between the Sea of Galilee and the Mediterranean Sea. The crossing here of the trade route, here's Nazareth. Here's Nazareth, I should say. And here is where I believe they camped. Here is the Jezreel Valley. Here's Succoth. It's a little bit difficult to show on this map how accurate things are, but it gives you an idea. And here is their Egyptian road, Jusins here. Interestingly, Nazareth is not mentioned at all in the Old Testament, but according to historic records, there was a substantial settlement in the Nazareth basin at the time of the Exodus. So what was the name of the town of Nazareth during the Old Testament? So Wikipedia Nazareth, the etymology is uncertain. So where did the name come from? Don't know. But it's not mentioned in the Old Testament or the rabbinic literature. It's only mentioned in the New Testament. The Franciscan priest, Bellarmino Baghetti, carried out extensive excavation work in the area. 15 BC, ceramic silos and grinding mills from the Iron Age from this period showed a substantial settlement in the Nazareth basin at the time. But in the Old Testament, which would cover this period, Nazareth, as the name Nazareth, was never mentioned. In the Old Testament, there is a settlement called Zarethan, which is supposed to be in the Jordan Valley, which I think could be the old name for Nazareth. So Kings 7:46 from Succoth to Zarethan. And then we get in Kings 4:12, Zarethan is now near Jezreel, the Jezreel Valley. So That's where I come up with that idea and hypothesis. No proof, guys, just ideas, just ideas. But these are mentioned time and time again in the Bible in different books. So here, Kings 7:46, between Succoth and Etham. So Zarephan is made up of two words, Zar, meaning narrow or tight. Here you can see Zar, narrow, tight. Etham meaning portal or corridor. So here we have Atan. Now it's not Etham, it's Atan. Here, entrance. Here, corridor, entrance, portal. So Zarethan, narrow corridor. The way of the Philistines goes from Megiddo across the Jezreel Valley up through a narrow pass of Nazareth. I believe it is possible that Zarethan, narrow portal, narrow corridor, could be Nazareth. Etham is possibly the area or settlement of Zarethan. That's my idea on this one, guys. But upon further research, I discovered that Etham is not actually a place, but another deceptive translation. Etham is only mentioned 4 times in the Bible, all with reference to the Exodus story. There is a place called Etham, mentioned 5 times, which seems to be in 3 separate locations in southern Israel, but spelt very differently. Here's Etham, Alpha, what's the Hebrew? Tau, yeah, I was right. And obviously Mem. But Etham is not Alpha. It is Ayin, a different A. Yod, okay. And then Heth M. So it's very different spelling. Now, I do understand that there was no written, or we believe there was no written description or definitions of these words. It was all by sound and words. So it's difficult to see if these were the same word or different words. But this is Etham mentioned in the Bible. Okay, but this seems to be in southern Palestine. So when you copy Etham in the Hebrew with the vowel points in the Google Translate, it gives you the translation of you, or better still, you all, because of the plural with the M. So Elohim, okay, remember meaning gods. So when they end with an M, the final M meaning a plural something. So use, if you like. So you all. Now in the Bible, there are 452 occurrences of Etham, which is spelled identical to Etham in Hebrew, apart from the vowel points. These vowel points were not introduced until 1000 AD, over 2000 years after the Exodus. So Etham or Etham is the plural of Eth, which relates to their over 11,000 occurrences. The meaning of Etham is you all, they, them. So here you have the 11,050 occurrences of Eth. And at them, there are 452 occurrences. I didn't show it on this. Oh, here. Okay. So here are some examples of Etham, even in Exodus 10:11. Not so go now, you men serve Yahweh, for that it is you, as in you all, plural, desired. Etham. That's in Exodus 18:25. And choose Moses men able out of all of Israel and made them, you all of them, heads of over the people. Numbers 32:8. Remember, this is also referencing the Exodus story. This didn't your fathers when I sent away them, Etham, from Kadesh Barnea. There's three examples using the same Hebrew as Etham. So if we replace the translation of them with you, they, or them, does the scripture still make sense? Here are the 4 entries, including the location of them in the Bible. So they journeyed from Succoth and camped. They all camped the edge of the wilderness. They departed from Succoth and camped. They all at the edge of the wilderness. They moved. There's them, or there's they there. It's interesting. Turn back to Pi-Haroth. There's the them, they. Numbers, and they departed Pi-Haroth. 3 days the wilderness. They camped at Mara. Maybe. Replaces them with they or them in the scripture still reads very good. They camped at the edge of the pastures. The final entry in Numbers 33:8 seems to state that if Etham was a place, it was before and I should say after the Red Sea crossing. That has no logic at all. How can Etham be before the Red Sea and after the Red Sea? But replacing it with they makes much more sense. So far, guys, this here is my route so far. So from Ramallah, just north of Jerusalem, to Succoth, the way of the wilderness, camp here at Succoth. It's 48 to 50 miles. From Succoth to the edge of the pastures of the wilderness. So let's just look at here. I think you can see here is the arrowhead of the Jezreel Valley. So from here, they go west because this would all be flooded land at that time. Mount Gilboa, the crossing of Fula, the crossroads, then going to the edge of the wilderness or pastures is another translation to Nazareth, which they at them camped the edge of the wilderness. So from Succoth to the edge of the wilderness of Nazareth, crossing the river Sison, this major river that connected these two seas. Yeah, on the Pi-Ramasses, the way of the Philistines is coming up here now. That would have been a shorter route. It's a distance of about 30 miles. So this, a day and a night's crossing, this being 1 day's journey for the second day. So guys, that's where I am at the moment. The final part will obviously cover the final points of the Exodus and bring it all together. I hope you're still following all this. And I hope you're still enjoying it. Why the Exodus route has been deceived to be in a total different area of the world, one can only guess. All I'm doing is trying to put some different facts on the table using the references we have, like the Bible. And I think you can see where I'm showing where translations for the Exodus only mean this only in the Exodus, but everywhere else mean something very different. And if we use the same translations, then we start to come to a very different route, very similar to the one I'm proposing. So that's part 4 for now, guys. I shall try and get part 5 done as quickly as possible. And as always, thank